Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations where we generally look at one or another lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the daily office lectionary. And I thought today we'd continue in St. Mark's Gospel. It is, of course, we're at the 9th chapter, beginning at the 14th verse. And when he came to his disciples, he saw a great multitude about them, and the scribes questioning with them. And straightway all the people, when they beheld him, were greatly amazed, and running to him, saluted him. And he asked of the scribes, What questioned ye with them? And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which hath a dumb spirit. And wheresoever he taketh him, he teareth him, and he foameth, and gnasheth with his teeth, and pineth away. And I spake to thy disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. And he answered him and said, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him unto me. And they brought him unto him. And when he saw him, straightway the spirit tare him, and he fell on the ground, and wallowed, foaming. And he asked his father, How long ago since this came into him? And he said, Of a child. And oftentimes it cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us, and help us. Jesus saith unto him, If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe. Help thou my unbelief. When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, Thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him, and enter no more into him. And the spirit cried and rent him sore, and came out of him, and he was as one dead, insomuch as many said, He is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he was come into the house, his disciples asked him privately, Why could not we cast him out? And he said to him, This kind can come forth by nothing, but by prayer and fasting. Okay, so we do hear there that the disciples are beginning to manifest the gifts that Jesus is bestowing upon them, the ability for them to preach the word and to give healing. But of course, this particular demon, this possession, was beyond their ability to do so. Something that only that Jesus says could be accomplished by prayer and fasting. And so obviously there's a deeper level of spiritual growth that these disciples have not reached yet. Now, of course, in modern medicine, people say, oh, he probably had this, or he probably had that epilepsy or some other thing. But that's not the issue, right? The issue here has to do with the reality that this particular child is demon-possessed. Jesus would not do this unless this was of possession. Now, demonic possession does still happen. I think it is probably a rare occasion. I think a lot of people open themselves up to demonic activity by the things that they choose to do. But for the most part, we've been protected by God against an overwhelming majority of such things. But of course, even that, as well as regular prayers for healing and for other things, are certainly within the purview of God. But the thing that really always strikes me when I read this lesson is that this poor man who brings his son, who since childhood has been absolutely tormented by this demon, throws him into the fire and he foams, all these sort of things. He comes to Jesus and he says, Jesus tells him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, and I imagine those tears were so deep and heartfelt because of all that he's gone through, Lord, I believe. Help thou my unbelief. And it's so wonderful for all of us to think of that we come to Jesus in faith and we say, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. I believe. And yet we're not always faithful. We're not completely faithful at times. And it's always a wonderful prayer to add to that, help my unbelief. In other words, help me, Lord, where I fall short. Help me where I am not fully given to you. Help me, Lord, and help to fill in where I am lacking. That, my friends, that is full faith. So today's Friday. And as always on Friday, there's no public worship here at St. John's, but of course we are saying our prayers every day. We're trying to glorify God in our lives. And of course we're getting ready to worship together on Sunday. And may your Friday be a day full of blessing.